Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are tackling a highly sensational headline. Will AI replace doctors? You know, it's a topic totally surrounded by hype, fear, and honestly, a lot of misunderstanding. But our goal today is to cut through all that noise and build a wholesome, systems-based understanding of the future of healthcare. By the end of our time together, you're going to have a crystal clear mental model of where AI actually fits into medicine.
Okay, let's dive right in. We're starting with this exact phrase because, well, it's actually the completely wrong question to ask. When we ask, will AI replace doctors, it traps us into thinking of medicine as just one single job. It makes it seem like a light switch, right? Like it's either simply flipped on or completely off. But as we all know, real-world medicine just doesn't work like that at all. So instead of talking about total replacement, we should really be asking this. What kinds of medical work can a machine do well, and what kinds of care still depend on human judgment? Think of medicine kind of like the New York power grid. We really have to ask which circuits can be automated safely, which ones are already overloaded, and which absolutely need a human hand to keep the whole thing stable. Here is our quick map for today's explainer. We're covering the wrong question, what AI actually does, the layers of medicine, navigating in the fog, the delegation system, and finally, the future of care. Let's get into it.
Section 1, the wrong question and how we need to shift our perspective.
Which brings us to Section 2, what AI actually does. Let's demystify the machine. We really need to strip away the magic here. AI is not some digital doctor. It doesn't roll into the hospital as a tiny robot physician with a stethoscope around its neck. Instead, think of it as a brilliant but totally detached, fast librarian. This librarian can scan millions of medical notes in literally seconds and match patterns, saying, hey, this file looks exactly like case file X. But, and this is crucial, that librarian doesn't understand human suffering, not the way a doctor truly understands the meaning behind an illness. And the librarian definitely doesn't carry the heavy responsibility for the actual outcome of the patient's treatment. Here's another super vital concept. AI operates purely by prediction. It's a lot like a weather forecast. A calendar gives you absolute certainty, right? Tuesday is definitely Tuesday, no doubt about it. But a weather forecast says, well, given the current conditions, rain is highly likely. AI in medicine works exactly the same way. It says, given these specific features, this diagnosis is highly likely. It's a great reminder for us that just because a machine gives a really confident output, that is absolutely not the exact same thing as absolute medical truth. And to even make those predictions, AI really needs neat, stable structures. It absolutely loves the drawer full of perfectly folded, identical white shirts. But real-world clinical data? It's often like trying to sort a giant basket of mixed, stained, torn, and totally labelless laundry. It's messy. And when that signal gets noisy, the AI's performance gets significantly weaker. The environment surrounding the model actually matters just as much as the model itself. Think about the messy reality of clinical information. It's incomplete, it's wildly inconsistent across different hospitals, recorded in all sorts of crazy formats, and it's heavily influenced by human error, timing, and just the sheer stress of the job. Because of all this, an AI model might perform flawlessly in one neatly organized hospital workflow, but then absolutely fail completely in a messier, more chaotic one across town. This brings us to perhaps the most crucial first principles truth of all. AI does not carry responsibility. It's exactly like an airplane's autopilot. Autopilot can keep a plane perfectly stable cruising in the air, but it cannot absorb the responsibility of a crash. In the same way, AI simply cannot carry the moral or legal weight of a wrong medical decision. It can suggest things, it can rank options, but the human pilot absolutely must remain in the seat.
Moving on to Section 3, the layers of medicine, why it's about more than just an answer. We tend to think of a diagnosis as just a simple label to be guessed, kind of like solving a crossword puzzle. But it's actually a deeply complex human judgment. It's constantly weighing statistical likelihood against real clinical danger. For example, an AI might look at a patient with chest pain and say, well, acid reflux is statistically way more likely than a heart problem here. But the human doctor has to make the call. Is ignoring that less likely heart problem actually reckless? You see, real care operates through these hidden layers. Medicine is an entire chain. AI, it's phenomenal at scanning that first raw information layer. It's a beast at that. It has maybe mixed success in interpretation, figuring out what a pattern actually means for a specific person. But it is completely 100% absent when it comes to the decision and human layers. AI can't handle a patient's fear, it can't respect their dignity,
and it can't decide what is truly, safely the right thing to do in that exact moment.
Section 4, Navigating in the Fog and the Role of Uncertainty. Doctors are literally constantly navigating in a thick fog. They almost never have perfect visibility, but they still have to keep moving safely. Now, AI serves as an absolutely incredible instrument to improve visibility in that fog. It can illuminate patterns that a human eye might have totally missed. But, and this is a big but, it absolutely does not remove the fog itself. Those real-world human variables are still there. You still desperately need human judgment to know when to slow down or when to completely change direction. Because at the end of the day, context changes everything. Think about a single musical note on a page. That note completely changes its feeling based on the surrounding song, right? It can sound super tense or comforting or just weak. In the exact same way, identical medical test results mean vastly different things depending on the context. A patient's age, their finances, their family support system, even their language skills. All of these things drastically change the actual real-world meaning of the medical data.
Okay, Section 5, the delegation system. Who does what? So, what are the rules of delegation here? Well, AI is absolutely ready to handle the stuff at the top of the list. Things that are repetitive, measurable, heavy on patterns, and low risk if a human reviews them. Stuff like triaging and scanning documents. But humans absolutely must retain control over the bottom of the list. We're talking about the ambiguous, ethically loaded choices. Those high-stakes situations where context is literally king. Let me give you an example. Imagine a hospital AI correctly flags a set of really concerning scans. Boom, it did its pattern matching job perfectly. High five to the machine. But out in the real world, one of those patients has worsening symptoms that require an immediate pivot. Another patient is facing intense language barriers. And a third, let's say they're relying on rural referral pathways in Pakistan, simply cannot access or afford the follow-up care. The real gritty work of care starts after the machine gives its ranking. The doctor has to see the entire system surrounding that patient.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 6, The Future of Care, Systems over Slogans.
When we finally map out exactly where AI fits into this deeply human architecture of care, the picture becomes so clear. For things like pattern detection, prediction, and summarizing massive amounts of information, AI is incredibly strong. It's a powerhouse. But as we move down the list, into judgment, into accountability, into building trust and explaining things to a scared patient, AI's fit becomes incredibly limited. And that human role, it becomes absolutely non-negotiable. So the future isn't about machines completely replacing doctors. Not at all. It's really about redesigning the relationship between raw computation and human judgment. The real question we need to leave with today is this. Where can AI safely extend a doctor's reach, and where must a human remain the ultimate decision maker? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep asking those right questions, and I'll see you in the next explainer.